Welcome to part 2 of Let's Play Sonic the Hedgehog. We are now going through the second zone, Marble Zone. And let me start off by saying this game has two kinds of zones. There are the great, fun, speedy, fast ones, like Green Hill Zone. And then you have zones like Marble Zone that don't really go fast and just require you to stand around and do nothing for a big part of it. And these two kinds of zones alternate, so after this zone we're gonna get to a fast one, and after that we're gonna get to another slow one, and then a fast one again. You get the drift. So to kinda even things out in terms of how long each video in this playthrough is, I will not be getting any Chaos Emeralds in Marble Zone, nor will I be getting any Chaos Emeralds in any other of the slow zones. Because otherwise, part 5, which is one of the fast zones, would have no Chaos Emeralds to collect, and it would be like 5 minutes long, which has now been prolonged to 6 minutes long. By the way, you may notice that sometimes I have a shield and sometimes I don't. This has to do with the frame rate of my recording software. In reality, the shield is supposed to be flickering on and off so fast in a way that you would barely notice the shield is flickering in the first place. But the frame rate of my recording software can't really keep up, so sometimes for a while it will just be showing the frames where it isn't showing the shield, and sometimes it will just be showing the frames where it is showing the shield. Oh, by the way, the shield protects you from one hit without you losing your rings. By the way, and this is almost completely unrelated, I was whistling Marble Zone the other day and I noticed it sounds a lot like a song called Music to Watch the Girls Go By. And earlier this day I went to YouTube to see if people have done comparison videos, and I'm glad to see I'm not the only one who noticed it sounds alike. So you can look that up if you're interested. The pace of the two songs are kinda different, but the beginning part sounds completely the same. Intentional or just a funny coincidence, who knows. Now let's get into why I don't like Marble Zone. It's this thing that we're skipping right now. It's this pushing a block over lava and then riding it over lava section. We will be seeing that later on, where we won't be able to skip it, sadly. And I have nothing against slowing down and taking your time once in a while, but some of the level gimmicks in this entire game just require you to stand still and wait for the level to either allow you to keep going or just play itself. This and just some other stuff this level throws at you makes Marble Zone my least favorite zone in the game, and it's disappointing because it's the second zone. Most people have more hate for a zone we'll be getting to later on, and funny enough, in the original level order that was supposed to be the second zone, but I'll get more into that later on. But I get to Marble Zone and I'm just bored. Look, I'm standing still, this is boring, and this is a funny glitch you can do to make this easier for yourself. I would like to say that this music redeems it a bit. I do really like this song. Other than that, it's just it's not as bad as I make it out to be, but it's not really fun to me, and I usually get tired of playing it when I get to this point, which again is sad because it's the second zone. I'm just waiting for this block to carry me over, and I'm bored and I'm hungry and I'm skipping this, and I'm gonna make a sandwich for a moment. I'll be right back. It's another glitch that tends to happen. It's the glitch jump. There are a few locations in the game where instead of going into his rolling animation, Sonic will just go in his walking animation when jumping. I'm not sure what causes it. There are just a few random locations in the game that do that. It's especially annoying later on because you need to be in your rolling form to break monitors. I show it off, so we'll see it when it happens. In the meantime, it's time for a little history lesson about Sonic the Hedgehog. Throughout the 80s, Nintendo was pretty much owning the entire gaming industry with their mascot Mario, and Sega had their own little 8-bit system with their little 8-bit mascot called Alex Kid, and it didn't really work out so well. So for their new system, the Sega Genesis, or the Sega Mega Drive in Japan and Europe, they wanted a new mascot who was hip and cool and flex, because people said that back then. So they had a contest, a mascot contest, to see who would become Sega's new mascot. It was actually, besides Sonic, there were two characters that were also interesting to mention, because one of them was Eggman, but he was wearing pajamas. They liked the design, so they made him a villain. without pajamas. And another one was Mighty the Armadillo, who would later become a character in the Sonic franchise for a few years and then Sega forgot about him. So then they had a mascot, now they just needed a focus group. Who did they choose to focus on? The 90s kid, of course. You know, like I mentioned earlier, everything was flex back then. They gave Sonic a personality that was based off Bill Clinton for some reason. He was the new kid in town and people loved Bill Clinton, I guess. What else did the 90s kid love back then? Michael Jackson? Well, give him shoes based off of Michael Jackson and give him Santa Claus color schemes because kids love Santa Claus. By the way, just a serious moment, this is all true what I'm saying. This is where Sonic's design elements came from, Santa Claus and stuff. So we have that part down, now we need a gimmick contributing to the gameplay to market. What do 90s kids love? Speed. Oh, and you know exactly what kind of speed I'm talking about. And thus Sonic the Hedgehog was born, as the result of speed. Oh, and they also chose speed because that would show off the Mega Drive's amazing blast processing! But it mostly came from the fact that the main programmer loved speed running the first level of Super Mario Bros. So as much as Sonic tried to compete with Mario and went an all-out console war, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, it really all just started out as an inspiration. That's beautiful, man. Now let's talk about a few concept ideas that didn't make it into the final product. For example, Sonic used to have a human girlfriend called Madonna, which is a bit weird. So they took that out. There was also a concept idea for Sonic being in a band with a character called Vector the Crocodile and among others, but mostly Vector the Crocodile, who would later become a character in the Sonic franchise as well. You would actually be able to see this band when you go to the sound test, but they took out the sound test entirely from this game and that made enough space for that Sega chant at the beginning of the game, which did take up a lot of space. 1/8 to be exact, which is probably more space than the entirety of Marble Zone takes up. And just to keep this relevant to what's going on screen, Marble Zone actually had flying UFOs in the background of the level in the original beta, which was weird. Also, maybe we shouldn't be saving animals from the robots in a lava level, because they're probably safer from the lava inside the robots. Maybe Sonic is the bad guy. Speaking of bad guys, hey look, it's Eggman! Or Robotnik. Or Eggnik. Eggnik! I'm a genius! Guys, from now on we're calling him Eggnik. Oh yeah, the boss. You jump back and forward between the two platforms and you hit him and he drops fire once in a while and look, he's defeated. Eggnik is defeated. So join me in part 3 of Let's Play Sonic the Hedgehog when we go through the Spring Yard Zone. See you then.